Hi, BookTube. Just a word before we get underway. If I seem to change my hairstyle and my clothing right in the middle of this video, just know it was not planned. My opening clip, back when I first recorded it, it corrupted. I couldn't get the audio and the video to sync properly. And so here I am recording it again a few days later. But it was just the opening bit. So, all the other clips were fine. I'm here because I need to catch up on some tags. I've got 3 invitations waiting. So today's coffee break is going to be the first one. And the channel that you see on screen now is the person I need to thank for this tag. The library mouse Gina invited me to do my 5 rules for BookTube. Thank you very much, Gina. Haven't been able to find the original tag video, Gina. I don't know. I found similar ones. I found 5 rules for reading, and I found another one called the 10 Commandments of BookTube. Now, I hope that one is just a comic exaggeration, right? I hope nobody actually feels their BookTube rules were handed down from on high. Now, I have lots of personal rules about BookTube. Many of them were in line with what I've heard Gina say and what I've heard people on other videos say, but a few of them I either haven't heard much or I haven't heard at all. So I'm sharing 5 principles by which I try to hold myself accountable because they matter to me. Rule number 1. I learn how to pronounce an author's name or anyone's name correctly before I say it on camera. This is something I've wanted to speak about for a while, actually. It concerns me how often I hear BookTube creators, they review a book that they've read, they have an attempt at the author's name, and then they'll say something like, I'm not sure if that's right, or I've probably got that wrong, or, oh, apologies if I've really messed that up. I would like to campaign for change. If we feel an author's book is worth reading and worth talking about on camera, I feel we owe them the respect of learning how to pronounce their names. And it's so easy now in a way that it wasn't before YouTube. If I don't already know how to pronounce an author's name, I just type that name into the YouTube search window and I look for interviews, I look for festival talks, I look for television programs talking about the author, podcasts. Within a few minutes, I get the correct pronunciation and then I practice it because sometimes the sounds are tricky. It's a language that you don't speak. I practice it. And because I script, I will also phonetically spell out the name based on what I've learned to help me remember the correct pronunciation. Now, there are some authors, Eugenia Cheng, for example, she publishes a little sound file on her website instructing people how to pronounce her name. And isn't that telling? I mean, surely that says that authors with names that are not, our standard English surnames, they're getting tired of hearing their names messed up on camera. So my first rule is show kindness and respect to the author whose book you've just enjoyed and learn how to say their name correctly. Rule 2, I protect privacy. Firstly, I protect the privacy of people that are close to me. Even when you have seen someone close to me appear on camera in a video, I have not used their real name. And you notice I have pseudonyms for all the people that are close to me, the person who watches television, my number 1 Scorpio, the lady who loves yellow. I'm protecting the privacy of people that I know that are close to me. I don't talk about them. I also don't share much about my private life outside of reading. And sometimes, I'll confess this, and I think you won't mind, but I sometimes don't give you 100% accurate information when I do tell you about something in my private life. For example, recently, when I went on holiday, I did tell you, well, I'm leaving. Oh, I'm back now. That wasn't strictly true. When you were watching the video, I changed the times a little bit. I was not strictly accurate. I hope you don't mind that you're not getting chapter and verse that way, but I just feel it is wiser to focus my creation content on what it is that I came here for, which is books, and wiser to share less about my private life. Rule 3 is about timekeeping. I am very fastidious about controlling the length of my content. I try to keep most of my videos under 20 minutes. And the exception to that is Middlemarch Meditations. But you know what? If there was a subscriber who said, look, I watch your shorter stuff, but I don't do the meditations because they're too long, I would say, I get you, and that's absolutely fine. The meditations, they seem to have their own audience. It is growing. I'm really happy with it. They obviously just want that kind of thing. But even the meditations, I would not like it if they gradually started to get longer and longer. And I am noticing that they are a little bit. So I'm going to try to bring them down. I really feel they should stay under an hour, or ideally under 45 minutes if I can get them there. I'm going to see if I can manage that. But I just feel that's respectful. I feel if you're going to put content out there and say, hey, watch my stuff, wow, shouldn't you be careful how much of people's time you demand? Like, more than an hour, that's a lot of time when people are really, really busy. So I just feel that it's better to try to keep it short for everybody's sake. Rule number 4, I try to reply to all my comments. This graphic, you're going to think, what on earth is this? This is bubbles. I was looking up comment bubble, and I didn't choose anything that actually had a content bubble, because when I saw all these lovely colored bubbles, I just liked them more. I do try. I feel safe setting that rule. I feel confident that the number of comments I get will never become so numerous that I'm going to have to lose sleep answering them. I can't always answer them as fast as I like. That troubles me sometimes. I've got a couple of comments sitting in my box right now that I need to respond to, and I will do, for those that are thinking, But I do like to respond, because I do like a bit of a dialogue with the people that I'm presenting and giving content to. And this rule has a part 2 to it as well, though, because I know that in particular, I'm thinking of you, number 1 Scorpio. There are people who do not like writing comments. I mean, they do not like writing. And when they have to write, they feel pressurized, and suddenly they can't think of anything to say, and it all seems so meaningless and stupid. I don't think commenting in that situation is a good thing to do. I'm very happy for people not to comment if that's what makes them feel more comfortable. They can watch all the content they want, don't have to say a thing. It's funny, though, I had a conversation with a viewer, and we talked about this. The only disadvantage for you non-commenters out there is that YouTube, they don't tell me who watches a video, and they don't tell me who likes a video. So if you're a person that watches a lot of my stuff and maybe you click the like button a lot, it's brilliant. But it's terrible because I won't know who you are. I think it's a downside that the only viewers I can really get to know, or I can be conscious of what they obviously like to watch. I can't do that from the likes. I wish I could. I wish YouTube would change that so I could understand who's liked a video, because that way the people who don't like to comment don't have to, but they can still say, hey, I showed up and I watched this because I liked it. And I go, okay, you like that. That gives me a sense of what kind of content maybe is going to be attractive to you on another occasion, or whether I'm growing an audience for a particular kind of content. And finally, rule number 5, I like to commit when I start a book, and I like to keep that reading commitment. And I feel that's important because I want people to take me seriously as a reader of books. And I think it's therefore important for me to be seen to be getting through books. And also I feel that if I do that, I'm demonstrating that this can be done. This is achievable, in case anybody needs that encouragement. I'm preaching to myself now, because we're in month 9 of my Read What You Own challenge, and I have a TBR list for that. It was 12 books. I've read 9, but the remaining 3, they are hefty. And so I'm going to have to push myself a little bit. But you see, pushing yourself to complete a book, I can understand why sometimes you don't want to do that, but I think there are times when you do. I think there's and I think also it can be a great pleasure, a source of pleasure. And this was something that I read recently. I'm reading Natalie Goldberg's Wild Mind, which I'm going to review shortly. And she talked about commitment being a pleasure. And I thought, yes, it's so cool to hear someone else say that, because I agree. We think of pleasure as we pick something up and it just immediately pushes all our buttons and it keeps pushing our buttons. But I say, no. I believe there's also a kind of pleasure which sometimes has its awful bits, its unpleasurable bits, because it's a commitment to something. And there is pleasure to be got from committing to something and then seeing it through. And that is all my 5 rules of BookTube. I am going to go away now. I have so much writing to do. I've started one of those big books in my TBR list, so I'm going to be busy. So I've got to get away now. It's been great sharing this coffee break with you. See you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.